Good afternoon, good evening, everybody. This is Lorraine Alternative Homesteading. Now, this is take 3. I have little alarms set off that are set to go off to remind me and to keep me awake from these criminals sending their radio frequencies to knock me out and put me to sleep. And unfortunately, and I don't get it, because if my phone rings while I'm recording, I can ignore it or click it off and my recording still continues. But for some reason, when I receive an alert, it automatically clicks off whatever it was that I was recording. So far, I've recorded 17 minutes total, and I was interrupted twice, and I lost the ability to continue on both of those. I'm going to try to stitch together. I'm going to have to figure out how to do this. I might be able to, I don't know. I'm probably just going to have to list them separately. So you're going to have to bear with me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue reading Covert Technological Murder by Renee Pittman. I started reading chapter 2, and I thought I read most of it, but it actually continued with an additional patent. So the chapter 2 is Jeremiah's attempted false flag programming. This was the testimony of Jeremiah Ivie. Okay, and I know some of you were very interested in his testimony and that it validated some of what you were going through. Okay, so I'm going to read another patent and then chapter 3. But I wanted to tell you also, in case I'm not able to splice together, that the criminals have been dumping ants in my kitchen sink, planting weeds, grass seed everywhere. This is the time of the year where I would normally be planting, fruit and vegetables and stuff like that. And it is so difficult. Every garden bed they have destroyed. Just everything. And the level of weeds. Now, I'm a gardener. I've been gardening my entire life. I know what is deliberate and what's naturally occurring. What they have done to my property is literally off the charts. And I was listening to Gang Stalking Stimulation today. He posted a video, and he made mention that single women living alone probably have it the hardest, or something to that effect. And it is true. Because there is these cowards, these losers, these cowards, the little gang stalkers, the little hate crimes, the little community stalkers that have nothing better to do with their sorry lives. Imagine if there were 2 people living in my house. It would be a little difficult for them if one person were in my house while I was on the other side of the property, wouldn't it? It would be a lot harder for them to manage to get in and out and dump ants in my kitchen sink every time I leave the house. They wouldn't be able to do it. And I've said this before, and even when my mother was alive, she said the same thing, that half of what's happening to me would not be happening. Doesn't mean I wouldn't be targeted, but I might not have been targeted if I were married, because they have different incentives and different motivations for and different abilities to get somebody who's single and alone rather than when they're married or living with somebody. And I have friends, targeted friends, who have live-in boyfriends, and they don't have nearly half of what I have. And they'll tell me flat out that they don't. They're not being experimented on. Nobody's performing covert experiments on them. Yeah, they're blacklisted and watch-listed and other horrible things happen to them. But they're renting. There's no vandalism going on. There's no vandalism going on inside their house or on the outside. Yes, they've got auto-sabotage and stuff like that, and very difficult to get jobs. And they do sabotage the vehicles and stuff like that. But not nearly what other single people get. And I'm just going to say that for the record. And I remember when I came into this community in 2017, although this has been going on for years before, even Targeted Justice said that what I was describing to them was off the charts. And it is off the charts. And I'm just going to put it out there that it's off the charts. And I know that there are other people that are getting stuff that's off the charts too. So I hope you enjoy this little painting, this little mini painting, watch listed for speaking the truth. It was painted for me. So anyway, I'm going to continue reading. Please remember to hit the thumbs up. Combat the cyber stalkers and the criminals, the local criminals. Like, we'll give a shout out to my neighbors, Mary, John, Eddie, Scarlett, and the Zoom boy. I think his name is Dave. And this is a warning to you losers. If I find you approaching anybody that works for me on my property, slandering me, bribing them, you will be sued. I promise, and I'll win. So you can all go running to the county lawyer, wow, 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 cry, oh, look, I got a picture. Can I have my gift card? I promise you will be sued. And there will be no statute of limitations because this has been going on for 5 years. So it'll just piggyback with every other criminal act you performed against me. So now that I've got my little anger out there, let's continue. Continue reading. Covert Technological Murder by Renee Pittman. And yes, you criminals, karma is on its way. It might not be in the time frame that I desire. And I'm just putting it out there that I'm not going to have anything to do with it. Because I guarantee I'm not the first person you have harmed. Your little pity parties. And your little three Masons. Oh, and there are three Mason groups around here. And of course I know they leave their symbols behind. The truth in plain sight for eyes to see. They have to tell you. They think that it's relieving their karma by telling you in advance what they're going to do. That's not true, folks. I don't know where they learned that from. But anyway, I wanted to continue, and I ended up typing some of this into the description of the last video I posted on the patent PULSATIVE manipulation of the nervous system. That was a grant. That person, the inventor, was Hendricus G. Loos, L-O-O-S, received a grant for that patent. He filed it in August 31, 1998, and the actual date of the patent was July 18, 2000. So that patent is 24 years old. That technology of being able to put somebody to sleep is 24 years old. So now he goes into the types of brain waves here, and this is very important. And actually, I typed some of this in the description of the last video, but I'm going to read it out loud now. There are different types of programming with these brain waves, the EEG. What is the alpha program? It's within the base control personality. It's characterized by extremely pronounced memory retention, along with a substantially increased physical strength and visual acuity. Alpha programming is accomplished through deliberately subdividing the victim's personality, which in essence causes a left brain, right brain division, allowing for a programmed union of left and right through neuron pathway stimulation. The beta is referred to as sexual programming, and he writes in parentheses, slaves. This programming eliminates all learned moral convictions and stimulates the primitive instinct devoid of inhibitions. Imagine that. CAT, C-A-T, alters, may come out at this level known as the kitten programming. It is the most visible kind of programming, as some female celebrities, models, actresses, and singers have been subjected to this kind of programming. In popular culture, clothing with feline prints often denotes kitten programming. If you Google Project Monarch sex kitten programming, you will find several individuals in the entertainment industry wearing kitten-type clothing. Some believe are deliberate connections to secret societies, monarch programming, with the individuals becoming a brand for revenue. Delta is known as the KILLER programming, and was originally developed for training special agents or elite soldiers, the Delta Force, the 1st Earth Battalion, Mossad, etc., in covert operations. Optimal adrenal output and controlled aggression is evident. Subjects are devoid of fear and very systemic in carrying out their assignment. Self-destruct or suicide instructions are layered in at this level. Then there's Theta, which is considered to be the psychic programming. Bloodliners, those coming from multi-generational satanic families, were determined to exhibit a greater propensity for having telepathic abilities than did non-bloodlines. And due to its evident limitations, however, various forms of electronic mind control systems were developed and introduced, namely biomedical human telemetry devices, which are brain implants, directed energy lasers using microwaves, and or electromagnetics. It is reported that these are used in conjunction with highly advanced computers and sophisticated satellite tracking systems. Jeremiah Ivie is a bright, handsome, articulate man who bravely mastered himself in spite of his cruel targeting and the attempt to manipulate him to murder through the unmistakable powerful capability to influence a person through electromagnetic radio waves directly by the central nervous system and the brain itself. Understand that this technology is no joke. This is no joke, folks. These criminals, these psychopaths, are manipulating the behavior of others to commit crimes, to set them up, to target them for fun, for profit, ruining people's lives. The next patent is thermal excitation of sensory resonances. It's patent number 5800481. In man, the autonomic and cortical resonances of the nervous system can be excited by inducing subliminal heat pulses in the skin by means of a resistive heat patch, laser, heat lamp, or microwave radiation through slow air jet that carries a small periodic fluctuation in temperature. Deeply subliminal skin temperatures, oscillations or frequency near a half hertz induced in a subject of any of these means can cause sleepiness, drowsiness, relaxation, a tonic smile, ptosis of the eyelids. Oh, I read this yesterday too. For certain higher frequencies, the induced subliminal skin temperature oscillations cause fractured thought and a slowing of certain cortical processes. The method and apparatus can be used by the general public to aid relaxation, sleep arousal, and clinically for the control and perhaps, maybe, treatment of tremors, seizures, and emotional disorders. Yeah. So now, again, this was a grant. It was filed in December 1995. And the actual date of the patent is 1998. More than 25 years. And it's the same inventor. Hendricus G. Loos. Now Jeremiah Ivie joins a growing movement that will continue to try to bring awareness to the horrendously personal plights of thousands still enduring covert terrorism, numerous untold reports of similarity, of ongoing human experimentation and tactics as a standard procedure. And then you've got the criminals at the Manalapan Police Department, the former Lieutenant Thomas Mantle, who falsifies reports and claims that as I was walking on my driveway, I was a terror threat with disorderly conduct. That's what was written in the incident report. And just giving you a shout out, Thomas Mantle, you little creepo, for labeling me a terror threat and destroying my life. Your life will soon be destroyed too when I go live on a very popular channel discussing criminal cops like you. He was told from inception that he was placed into a military technology testing program. See, now Jeremiah was told. He was told. This program factually originates within the military-industrial complex, also known as the Department of Defense, the DOD. And he was told this, and from what I've learned, is the prevalent and typical arrogant insanity of those employed in these programs who essentially believe that they're untouchable while playing God, although deceived by you-know-who. Again, the power behind the secrecy is the belief today that it cannot be proven, or in Jeremiah's case, that a victim would not be strong enough to resist the powerful stimulating urges, then expose these operations are doing specifically to victims and the vicious plan for destruction of his family to isolate victims. Isolation is vital. Yeah, see, this is why they target single women living alone. Imagine, they wouldn't be able to get away with half of what they do. Not even half. Isolation is vital. That's another reason why I'm selling this property. I'm going to move to a more heavily populated area with a property that isn't as well known. And I'm going to put a shout out there that I will be moving from here, you losers. You're going to lose your income. Not only will you be losing your income, but any income that you earned up to date, you're going to have to share with another state. Because I refuse to continue living in Kentucky. Isolation is vital away from family and friends by design, which escalates the experiment without awareness of those close to the victim. That's right. But that's okay, you effers. The people that are closest to me know what's going on with me. I keep them up to date. The fact that I have a YouTube channel that they can watch on a regular basis. As I was told, someone gave us your name in 2009. Oh, that's an interesting year. When my situation was taken to a whole different level, the arrogance of these groups founded on the effectiveness of this technology's success with many others, those involved with Jeremiah Ivie obviously felt that he would ultimately be controlled psychologically. So they told him who they were at the inception. Well, that's really interesting, folks. I look forward to your comments down below. Has anyone directly told you at the beginning of your targeting that you were placed in a program? Please leave a comment down below. And they believed that he would do whatever they wanted him to do because of the extreme beam torture electromagnetic and subliminal influencing. They must have believed that he would be unable to tell anyone, or if he did, definitely knowing that typically no one would believe him, or perhaps even listen, and that people would think him seriously mentally ill, especially if he revealed the level he was pushed to. And as a result, they were willing to push him ruthlessly to the brink of disaster and destruction of not only his life but loved ones, nudging him to hopefully unalive, which historically has been typically backed up by strategic discrediting through covert, manufactured, synthetic mental illness labels which continue. Today, 2 acts being used to cover up abuses of those targeted in these programs and the denial of a U.S. citizen's rights under the color of law. Number 1, the U.S. Patriot Act, for example. It protects governments and connected criminals from criticism or detection and prosecution. Under this act, anyone whistleblowing or fighting the system on a major concern is arbitrarily deemed to be unpatriotic, when it's the criminals they criticize who betray us. They can then be listed by a senior politician, or at the request through them of a connected criminal. Could you imagine a criminal putting you in the program, and that's okay, a criminal, as a security risk, and harass covertly using secret technologies? Well, these technologies are not a secret anymore, folks. I mean, come on. You get online on YouTube and everybody's talking about directed energy weapons burning up California and Texas. Come on. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's talking about the barges banging into and knocking down bridges as not being naturally occurring. Come on, folks. It's not a secret anymore. There's no secret. Number 2, the National Security Act of 1947. The historic National Security Act of 47 mandated a major reorganization of the foreign policy and military establishments of the U.S. government. The act created many of the institutions that the presidents found useful when formulating and implementing foreign policy, including the National Security Council, the NSC. I'm just going to skip forward a little bit because it goes into all the stuff, the presidents or whatever. The act also established the CIA, the Central Intelligence Agency, which grew out of the World War II era as the Office of Strategic Services and small post-war intelligence organizations. The CIA served as a primary civilian intelligence gathering organization in the government. Later, the Defense Intelligence Agency, the DIA, became the main military intelligence body. The 1947 law also caused far-reaching changes in the military establishment. The War Department and the Navy Department merged into a single Department of Defense under the Secretary of Defense, who also directed the newly created Department of the Air Force. However, each of these 3 branches maintained their own service secretaries. In 1949, the act was amended to give the Secretary of Defense more power over the individual services and their secretaries in the U.S. Department of State, and then the Office of the Historian. Never heard of that. The Office of the Historian. I've never heard of that office. Please leave a comment down below if you know what that is. The fact that this technology is 100% approved for legal use through the Department of Defense Regulation 5240.1.R, specifically Human Experimentation by Procedure 13. Procedure 13 I'm just going to say 13 is key. Well, what is Procedure 13? Procedure 13, experimentation on human subjects for intelligence purposes. Intelligence purposes? That's why they only target the intelligent people. And that's why they've got the morons harassing you. Because what could be worse for a highly intelligent person to be stalked by a moron? What could be worse than that? What? What could be worse than that? So, this Procedure 13, experimentation on human subjects for intelligence purposes, the applicability is, the procedure applies to experimentation of human subjects if such experimentation is conducted by or on behalf of the Department of Defense intelligence components. The procedure does not apply to experimentation on animal subjects. Oh, then why are my animals being experimented on? Huh? What you're doing then is actually against even their covert criminal policy. There's an exception clause of the U.S. Code, Title 50, Chapter 32, Section 1520A for official testing by law enforcement and the military through the Department of Justice, the Department of Defense, and the Department of Homeland Security, and other highly placed government agencies, such as my favorite Bureau of Instigation, the Secret Service, the NSA, the CIA, and now in full operation, and also the state and local police levels, should be eye-opening. We are in the militarized police state. As shown, the Department of Defense Regulation 5240.1.R gives approval, as does EO 12333. You hear that? 12333. And other laws, which appear designed so that those seeking information on who, what, where, and why are hidden by layers of secrecy and unethical approval. Through the combined organizational effort of involvement in many agencies, it is nearly impossible to get to the bottom of the dynamics of this program and thereby hold the individuals accountable for the extreme torture, which would also result in shame and a national disgrace. In reality, the United States government and other governments has to be playing major roles in this type of program to be operating or exist on such a massively high level and unpublicized. The laws and documented, patented capabilities, 25-year-old patents, also continue to give definite credibility as a form of truth. Many have been beaten down, harassed, threatened, and tortured into puppets, driven crazy, pushed over the edge, into complete submission, compliance, using also death threats. It appears that victims are able to withstand and rebuke the fear and torture and have become worthy adversaries, making the threats ineffective as a controlling source device to stop publication and public exposure. That's right, folks. I will never shut up. Never. I'm going to expose every last one of you losers. Every one of you. And I already did. I already contacted the Attorney General. Okay, even if nothing was done about it. Every time you contact somebody who's in a position to do something in your favor and make it stop, and they are complicit, the karma falls back on them and bad stuff is going to happen to them. And all the money you guys are getting paid to do these things, you think those controllers going to let you keep that money? You kidding me? That's not the way it works. It's all going to be taken back from you, you stupid idiot morons. Disinformation campaigns have mobilized the community against the target through organized community stalking as an extension of the technological harassment. Anybody want to see my crazy ass neighbors on Neighborhood Wars on A&E, April 11, 2023? That's right. We expose one criminal at a time. If the local county lawyer won't give me a restraining order, if the local sheriff won't write the correct incident reports and photograph the evidence and arrest the criminals, aside from my reporting them to the FBI, which I'll continue to do, the internet is a wonderful place for getting your message out there, folks. For the real targeted people out there, not the perps that are following my channel. And sure, I mean, if you follow my channel and you're commenting in the comment section, that helps my channel grow too. And I'm happy to interact with you even if you're a perp, as long as you're not derogatory and nasty to other people on my channel. You're still helping my channel grow. But I'll tell you right now, folks, all you criminals, you're being exposed all over the place. And we can also thank, and I would also thank them multiple times, all of the police auditors on the channel, on YouTube. Right? High impact vlogs, here's the deal, delete laws, audit the audit, lackluster, Long Island audit, tyrant terminator. I mean, the list is endless. And because the mainstream news won't report the real stories and the crimes that are really taking place, I applaud all of you auditors, all of you citizen journalists that go out there and walk around photographing, videotaping all of these crimes. Without you, some of those victims out there would have never had a voice. They would have never been able to file their lawsuits and win their settlements. So now, as a result, most are afraid to speak up or possibly believe that they have done something wrong or are convinced that they deserve this horrible, inhumane treatment in some way without human fairness or basic human rights. And those operating the technology appear to share this program belief, which also makes it easy to terminate and destroy lives, limbs in the pursuit of happiness, not only in the target's life, but also in the target's environment. Well, folks, I'm just going to say for the record that I will be filing another complaint about the destruction of my property real soon. And I'm going to be going up higher levels, and I'm going to be naming names. So beware, you little effers in the neighborhood. Keep it up. Keep up, you lookouts that hang out on the road while the other one's coming in. I've got dates, times, and places. Not everybody is corrupt in the government. Not everybody's corrupt at the Attorney General's office. Not everybody's corrupt at the DOD or the DOJ. Not everybody is corrupt. And I will get by to one of those people that's not. The amazing thing about unaliving is that once it's declared okay or justified by individuals or groups or sanctioned by government agencies, or in this case in the form of electromagnetic slow kill, through debilitating one body part after the other, it appears that most have tasted blood, so to speak. They have no conscience about doing it again, desensitized, similar to serial killers. Tim Raffet of the United Kingdom documented the availability of the Tetra system, a system for mass mind control, by design and intent to robotize police and military personnel in "Are you not my big brother?" quote unquote. History reveals that this technology was first originated in the U.S. with one of its founding fathers of electromagnetic technology research known as W. Ross Adey, A-D-E-Y. W. Ross Adey later provided the technology, and after perfection and continued advancement, to the Great Britain. One thing that's certain, those at the top do not want it known what is factually happening, and these groups will go through great lengths to prevent exposure, which includes murder, if necessary, to silence a whistleblower or anyone who becomes a threat. From my personal observation, there appears to be different levels to the quote-unquote program, and also different levels of torture or manipulation for specific purposes and statistical data. On a scale of 1 to 10, after reading Jeremiah's story, I would say he reached a level 10 targeting years prior. When befriending him, I learned that his parents were world travelers creating game shows, and he traveled with them, assisting in creating the sets. The truth is that there were entire families could have been targeted without even their knowledge, implanted and used as inadvertent spies by visiting so many places. If so, Jeremiah's targeting likely began to evolve in early childhood subtly, and then at some point typical of his decade-long program in the victim's life explode as a full-blown lab rat testing assault. Being strong and secure enough to expose these extremely abusive and heinous acts performed on a target by those using this technology is mandatory and is not a reflection of the target. It's a reflection of the powerful capability of this advanced technology to manipulate the human body and mind, and that those evolved are operating on the level closest to the animal kingdom. Yeah, folks, they're operating the closest level to the animal kingdom. For sport, or by assignment, as well as a reflection of the individuals doing outrageous, vicious, malicious things to other human beings while sitting comfortably at a mega computer connected terminal on their desk and never leaving the building. Jeremiah Ivie gaining my utmost respect, later was also brave enough to report on Facebook information that, as a form of ultimate, complete, and extreme humiliation to him, and anger by his handlers at the inability to continue to control him, that the technology was then used to humiliate him by making him defecate on himself during a date one night with a hopeful love interest. This is how disgusting these people are. Disgusting. But you know what? These Luciferian Satanists, they love poop. They love pee-pee. They love urine and feces. They probably eat it and bathe in it. They're disgusting. Although I have not been caught up this way yet, the technology has been used to repeatedly cook my bladder, causing me to urinate on myself, resulting in an immediate, powerful, and uncontrollable urge to urinate immediately, and the inability to hold my urine after the radar laser beam focuses on my bladder, which materialized out of nowhere without warning. Other targets have reported that as soon as they urinate on themselves, 5 minutes later it happens again, and the bladder is completely drained through the beam holding its focused position. As a result of 6 times being caught up this way, I learned that as soon as I feel the tiniest or minutest urge to get to the restroom right away, then they start doing this to me. I could barely make it to a secluded area, such as the back of a business, to hide in a parking lot, to urinate outside of my vehicle. Walking was completely out of the question. Fortunately, I then took to sit on a pillow to elevate me inside of the car that I had while driving, which was washable in case of a beamed emergency. I personally can attest to having my bladder intentionally cooked while stuck in a fast food line sandwiched between vehicles or when traveling on the freeway. Fortunately, I keep gym clothes in the car and have a universal gym membership, and there's always one nearby just in case. So I'm going to fast forward now to chapter 3. And I know this is happening to you guys. This has happened to me. It's happened to almost everybody. Nobody likes to talk about it. Electromagnetic sexual stimulation. The sexual theme is a common complaint among many targeted individuals. I myself have personally written several letters to federal, state, and local officials complaining of the use of technology in this manner on me. Because of this, it led up on to a certain degree. However, across the board, targets continue to complain of suffering unwanted electromagnetic sexual stimulation, both men and women, and likely even children, by technology also having the capability to bring a person to a full orgasm. The patent and abstract of how it's done is well detailed earlier, exampled by Hendricus Loos. During the weekend of February 2013, I had about 5 TIs staying with me from North California for involvement for a protest and picketing of an event in LA to bring exposure to the targeting of many in California. So that's February of 2013. Major cities across the U.S. continue to be hot spots for technology testing, obviously for a variety of specimens, and California is major. While sharing horror stories about the use of this technology in our lives, specifically an electromagnetic stimulation continues to come up. One of the ladies in the group told me that she had uncontrollable urge to masturbate day after day, and would. This was happening while being watched by men who are predominantly working in these operation centers. These are perverts. Perverts. I've said it before, and I put out a video that I believe that targeted individuals are the paraphilias for these psychopaths, for these sexual deviant Luciferian Satanist Freemason losers. She also said she was influenced into a lesbian relationship and that she was not gay, nor was she attracted to women. To her, this was a wake-up call of the powerful ability of the influencing capability of this technology physically as well. And I'm going to add, Brian Coffrin has a video. He has a video out, testimony about how the technology can create attraction, or being attracted to somebody that you would have absolutely no attraction to. He said it's horrible. This is playing God, and these people sit back and they laugh and giggle about it. These psychopath losers. Paid for with your tax dollars. She said that it taught her that she needed to be constantly in tune with herself, her feelings, and fully grasp and understand what could happen to her, and more importantly, against her will, if she were not by the operation around her. It appears that operation center deviants are getting their kicks by creating their own personal versions of real-time reality porn. Two women making out is probably a perk of the job, especially when they manifest the situation, and likely a real source of mental masturbation enjoyment during their 8-hour shifts. They tried to lean heavily on me as being gay or having deviant sexual attractions or desires as well. This is common, and with some unaware, and of whom they want to control, for example, like politicians. This beam's capability assures a level of control of those in specific positions, and also they use it to blackmail them. Jeremiah also mentioned this effort in his life regarding his loved ones and subliminal deviance of incest. The pedo thoughts are another topic reported by targeted individual, manifested through electromagnetic influence of these human monsters. The attempt to nudge people in this direction is just another example of the horror and the terrorism, how screwed up mentally and disgusting some of these sociopaths really are working these programs and like in these positions for these reasons. They hire them because of their psychopathy. It really is sickening, the level of filth formulated in the minds and character of some of these operations centers. It is a direct result of their ability to tamper with the minds and emotions of a target. They are continuously in search of any way or anything that they can use to get through to a target and control them emotionally, and creating sexual deviance, again, is definitely high on their list. The ability to create doubt within a person regarding their sexual identity is powerful and can impact a person's psyche deeply, and even more powerfully shatter the psyche by confusion of who you really are after these sensations. This is again why awareness is pivotal. Doing things against your will or against your belief system of which you cannot explain or agree with, but do, can be extremely shattering to the perception of who you really are. Sort of like my having to get rid of that cat that attacked me. You know, the cat that they implanted, the cat spy, the cat honeypot. I originally named him Squeak because he had this sweet little squeaky voice. And he would rub against me. He even let me brush him. And then he attacked me in the worst possible way. I've never been attacked by a cat like this. Never. And if you want to see what that looks like, you go to my community page and scroll down just a little bit, and you can see the photos. It is shocking. It is absolutely shocking. This cat was possessed. On May Day, May 1, May Day, the Illuminati birthday, the witches' high holy holiday. They controlled this cat to attack me. This cat was attached to my legs and my arm. He was fixated. He was attached. I could not shake him off my body. I was dripping in blood. Dripping my clothing was torn. My pants were torn. He ate through my boots, my new boots, through 2 layers on my arm. I have never experienced anything like this. And it's traumatizing. And that was their intention. And I'm going to tell you, controller, psychopath handlers, you drop any more cats off on my property, they're going to be gone, gone, gone. I'll have no problem dumping them somewhere else. And yeah, that is against my character. But it is my property that I own outright. And you will not be dumping any more shit on my property. It'll be gone. And I'm sure you'll be able to locate him with your tracking device. So wherever he is, you can go find him so that you can use him against somebody else. Don't bring him back here, though. Once the target succumbs to this type of influencing, those monitoring him or her, I believe, step up the games, believing victims have been successfully controlled and have, at such a personal level, and that they can use you, abuse you, and berate you, and tear you down. In other words, they are practicing amateur versions of monarch programming, or slave programming, or the proven effective dynamic. Oh, and I don't know if I mentioned to you guys that when I lived at 52 Sutton Drive, Manalapan, New Jersey, Northfield Estates, in a home I lived in for 30 years as an original owner, within walking distance of the Manalapan Police Department, just suddenly around 2016, 17, 18, I would find one wing of a monarch butterfly. I would find them all over my backyard. So not only do these losers torture humans, but they torture animals. And you wonder why the monarch butterfly habitat is declining in this country? Because these Luciferian Satanists are destroying these butterflies. They are using them in their ritual practices. Because only my social activity where I lived in the summer of 2013 after moving outside LA, California, is the gym, or at home writing these books. The gym became the location where the technology was being used around me to influence unsuspecting people. The drone focus is on the victim. However, others around the victims can be influenced negatively. You hear that, folks? So anyway, that is the end of chapter 3. I think it's the end. Let me see. Let me make sure here. Oh, no, actually, it continues on and on and on and on and on. But I'm already at 53 minutes. So maybe we'll pick up on this chapter at a later date. This is Lorraine Alternative Homesteading. I just read Covert Technological Murder, The Pain Ray Beam by Renee Pittman. And I'll just read the back of her book. In November 2017, I woke around 2:30 a.m. to the sound of a beamed sonic weapon. Hum, hum, hum. Designed to create high-tech nerve damage or a synthetic brain aneurysm or cancer, the Covert high-tech beam assault was backed by a painful attack using extremely low-frequency microwave technology, of which thousands of victims turn, quote-unquote, the people cooker. Directed energy weapon including slow cooking my heart. I looked out the window into the night sky for the source, and there were 3 drones with flashing lights hovering in a triangle pattern above my home in low orbit. Who uses the triangle? Subscribers, come on, leave a comment down below. Who uses the triangle as a symbol? By some estimates, there are 300,000 plus U.S. citizens suffering similar attacks. Okay, this is really outdated. Because right now it's about 4 million, okay? This is really off base here. Oh, okay, that's what, because she's writing about 2017. Okay, so in 2017, 300,000 people. Well, according to the ACLU Trapped in a Black Box, as of 2016, based upon 2006 and 2008 FOIA request information, there were 900,000. Okay? So as of writing in 2016, there were 900,000 on the watch list. And if you're on the list, you know you're getting this other stuff. Had it been placed on the U.S. target kill list for refusing to be silenced, then courageously revealing the heinous, covert paradigm of hideous, fused military personnel, military technology, domestic program within a modernized high-tech COINTELPRO? Key were the attacks in the wee hours of the morning, which then gradually became more intense during the day. Or were they toying with me as time passed? One of the most corrupt police departments in the USA, the LA Police Department, I don't know if that's true, was playing a major role in a nationwide example, now using drone satellites with rogue federal agents, systems and devices and setups in neighboring locations, garages, and rooms in a compliant community. Their workstation and spearheaded by the FBI Joint Resource Intelligence Center, Los Angeles County Spy Center. So now this is the back of the book that I'm reading. Renee Pittman, Covert Technological Murder. This is Lorraine, Alternative Homesteading. Please remember to hit the thumbs up. It helps the channel grow. And anybody that is inclined, that has $1 or 50 cents, and you want to donate to my 501c3 nonprofit cat rescue, Freya's Cat Rescue, we accept PayPal and Cash App, etc., etc. Any donations are appreciated for food, etc. I really appreciate you guys. I'm going to sign off for now. Happy Saturday. And please keep spreading the truth. Spread this message. And feel free to share this video.